Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another match day. It is match day number 14 of the ESL North American Pro League. And Pilly, welcome back once again. It seems like it's going to be the Wednesday and Thursday evening between us two.
Yeah, it should be fairly fun and interesting first match coming up. Once again, we got Ghost Gaming and Immortals, and then some other matches coming in further in. How you feeling, Kev? Feeling good today?
Pretty good. I mean, coming off after yesterday is a little bit, dare I say it, topsy-turvy match day number 13. I think you probably missed out a little bit. Your boy Davey was playing, and well, they definitely took a huge upset against SK. You would have loved to see it. But today we have another good set of matches coming up with the other two developmental teams from the ECA Mountain Dew League, which is Rogue Gaming as well as Ghost Gaming. So it's always good to kind of, I guess, follow the team storyline. We can progress and track their progress through the season. And I don't know, so I'm becoming a fan of all the teams actually coming out for the ECA Mountain Dew League alongside with Spice. I mean, sure, you know, they're the underdogs. They don't have as much experience. There's a lot of young talent, but you can't help but cheer for the underdogs. Sometimes you want them just to not necessarily win every single map, but just like kind of see what kind of Counter-Strike they play and how they go forward as they learn from their defeats.
I mean, if Ghost Gaming are sort of conducting, creating a storyline perhaps, then you know, they're pretty much changing the main characters every couple of weeks because they just keep making these roster changes, keep, you know, changing up players and trying to find a formula that works. And you can't really blame them being that developmental team in coming into the Pro League. And, you know, the results haven't been super amazing, although that should be pretty much expected being one of the sort of lower teams in the league. So we'll see if today they're able to get any ground over Immortals. I think they are still playing with their coach, Zach, and they've made some recent changes. So Immortals still looking not too bad, a little bit weaker than we'd usually expect them, but, you know, we'll see how Ghosts go, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to see whether or not Zach or ZQK will be in the side of this server, but take a quick look at the standings first. As we can see, it is still Optic at the top, even though they did drop one against Immortals yesterday. And, well, Renegades near the top as well, alongside with Misfits and SK Gaming. Definitely people that you want to be seeing at the top if you're, I'd say, the norm, right? In terms of Renegades, yeah, top mid, Misfits, top mid. What is a little bit surprising, SK is a little bit lower down, but they haven't played as many games as Optic. Optic would play the most, so still waiting for, obviously, a lot of teams to catch up before we wait and determine where the results are. But so far, a lot of teams can catch up towards that point. But what is concerning, I guess, now for Liquid, CLG, and Cloud9 is trying to make their push, especially for Immortals. I don't think Immortals can make a run for the playoffs. I mean, Spice have more chance of making playoffs than Immortals do at this stage, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. I mean, yeah, it's going to be most scary for, you know, sort of those fan favorites and the pretty much the stock standard, you know, North American names that we'd expect sort of falling towards the bottom of the top 8, which they'll need to sort of improve their performance and pick up a couple more wins, get a bit more of a clean end of the season if they want to make it to the finals. But, you know, as Australians, got to be pretty happy that Renegades is doing well, and Misfits is probably the most surprising sort of result there. They've got the 8-3. They've had plenty of close games, though, as you can see with the round difference, though, and you know, it's good to see that their lineup's paying off because, you know, that's no small investment, I would say, bringing over two, you know, Frenchies to mix in with the rest of the gang. And Shazam's been playing pretty well lately. Like, I can't remember what qualifier it was the other day, but he had an insane performance pretty much all throughout the tournament.
I wouldn't know, to be honest. There's just been
I think it was Oakland
qualifiers.
NA qualifiers. I'm not sure, though.
The IM Oakland qualifiers?
Yeah, I think so.
Potentially so. I mean, there's been so many going on at the moment. It's very, very difficult to keep track. But obviously that Misfits lineup has been just developing over time. It wasn't really a lineup that was expected to kind of explode after Twist left the lineup, went to join Liquid. They picked up Amaneka and Deba Dubek, and well, things seem to be coming to fruition at the moment, and hopefully Misfits can actually make finals. It'll be good to see them in the finals because it shows, I guess, the power of not you know, individual star power. I'm not saying those guys aren't good players, but if you have a list of the players inside NA, they're not going to be at the top of your tier in terms of, yeah, this is a, you know, S tier star player, like a Nico, for example.
Yeah, well, there isn't a Nico really star player S tier. He's in a league of his own, isn't he? I mean, you
True
got
that.
he's pretty much one or two, maybe three players in that sort of tier. But yeah, I mean, I would have to agree with you in terms of the individual skill. But Devo Duvek, what a name! What a name, Kev! What a gamer tag!
I don't think many people know. Is it an Australian thing that we call someone Devo? Because I
Yeah.
swear that is
It
a
is an
very
Australian
Australian
thing,
term,
yeah.
and I don't think our overseas viewers will understand. But regardless, let's take a look at the schedule for today for matchday number 14. And on the secondary stream, we were talking about Ghost Gaming up against Immortals earlier on, followed by Liquid up against Rogue. And hopefully Liquid have a better showing today, because I don't think they brought their finest against Complexity.
Yeah, definitely not. So yeah, it'll be an interesting secondary sort of stream games. The first one will be a bit I feel like in some ways, because, you know, Ghosts are sort of that bottom of the league team, and we're kind of waiting for them to put in a little bit better of a performance against some of these other teams. They will have a bit of a better chance to do that against Immortals. I actually think that Rogue Liquid game should be a fairly good one. Rogue looks like they're on the steady improve, so that'll be an interesting series to sort of watch. And I think that Cloud9 SK gaming game, just in terms of how the standings are sitting, usually it really wouldn't matter, because you'd be expecting those better teams to sort of bang everyone else out of the competition, but you've actually seen them sort of towards the lower parts of the standings. Both of them are having some pretty close games, dropping maps here and there, and having a bit of an inconsistent start to the Pro League. So that could potentially be like a very important series. If one of them gets the 2-0 off over the other and continues to struggle, that could potentially put them out of the competition.
I'd still say at this stage that SK are still comfortably making it towards finals contention. I mean, they're like, I think 8-3 or something like that, whereas Cloud9, that's a different story. Cloud9 are much lower down. They haven't had as many victories, so Cloud9 do need the 2-0. It's the way that they've been dropping 1-1s against lower mid-tier teams. It makes me feel like this current lineup, where they've brought in obviously Tarek as well as Rush, they're still taking time to kind of develop and make their way forward. But Luminosity versus Optic should be good as well. I don't think Luminosity have much of a chance though. That said, though, Optic have been a little bit shaky form, so maybe they do need to wake up a little bit. Just have a reminder, they can't really just play around and not, you know, just always be in cruise back mode. You still want to make sure you take your victories comfortably. You always want the first seed inside the Pro League as the safety seed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they're a new team. They're steady on the improve. I mean, I usually don't watch very many vlogs and very much content by people, but those Optic guys, you know, the whole org's all about the content. I've been starting to watch some of the vlogs from some of the Counter-Strike players, and it seems like they have a pretty good attitude in terms of how they're approaching the team, and they're sort of steadily, slowly on the improve, constantly tweaking things, constantly, you know, pushing to be better and better. And, you know, they're not taking playing these NA teams too lightly and sort of trying to go for a bit of a walkover. They don't think it's going to be too cruisy. They're actually realizing that, you know, they will drop maps here and there. They're a new team and they're learning from their mistakes. So we'll see how they go in that Luminosity match. They definitely can't underestimate them, because, I mean, Luminosity might be the only Brazilian team that hasn't really changed too much since they made those changes a while back. You'd expect them to be changing rosters a lot with all the Immortal shuffles going on, but it doesn't really seem like they're budging. So they're really going to have to make that, you know, mean something in terms of retaining their roster. Their results are going to have to be, you know, steadily improving, because, you know, they did make that change a while back based on the fact that they've had some pretty mediocre, well, not even mediocre form, just not good enough results to satisfy the fact that you have a full Brazilian lineup living in NA. So, I mean, at this point, you know, they'd be a little bit, some of the players might be a little bit disappointed if they haven't made the change to sort of maybe push themselves onto a better team, and then, you know, towards the end of things, if they're not really improving the results category, then it won't really be worth it. But I mean, we've seen a bit of their lineup, and they're looking like they're steadily on the improve, and the two new additions are starting to look like some of the best players in the team. So
Yeah, absolutely. So we have to take a look to see how Luminosity go. But now back towards Ghost as well as Immortals, which is going to be our first matchup, obviously. So look, Ghost coming in through the developmental team at the bottom of the standings. Unfortunately, the only victory has been against Liquid. Surprisingly enough, that was a 16-14 where we were just like so hyped. This was so early on during the season.
yeah, with B.
Yeah, with B, the super sub, the super coach.
Yeah.
I mean, we do harp on about him a lot of the time, but there is no doubt in the fact that if you can go and carry your team, and that was effectively a carry performance. Ace the pistol was top stat, and so many critical entry kills and trade kills out against Liquid on Nuke, which is one of their stronger maps. Also one of the weaker maps, depending on which kind of form of Liquid show up. But regardless, they did manage to take their victory, but they looked really, really weak ever since. ZQK then left the lineup. They picked up Dallas as a new IGL, and Wardell came back, but there hasn't been a recipe for success just yet. They've been looking better in the last couple of matches, considering that they were getting stomped. Like immediately afterwards, we were so hyped up after that map, and they just got completely stomped. Got stomped again, made the lineup change, and things have been looking progressively better. They're looking stronger as a team. Things seem to be clicking in place. Now it's just how much further can they go?
I mean, at this point, when you're so far down in terms of the competition, you really just have to put in the hard yards in terms of improving and trying to learn some valuable lessons, really reflecting on why it's been such a difficult season for you and playing out the last couple of matches to sort of improve and practice. You know, map wins don't matter at this point. You know, you're not going to get yourselves too much farther in the Pro League. Maybe you earn a little bit more prize money if you move up a place or two. I don't really know how that works, but yeah.
But I'd say as well, it's important because you want to be keeping your position in the Pro League. Anyone who's at the bottom is going to be in the relegation process.
Yeah, they can't really get away from relegation, I feel like, at this point. So that's why they really need to focus on the improvement, because at this point, the best case scenario is that you improve to the point where when it comes around to those relegation series and those Premier teams are really pushing you for your spot in Pro League, you're good enough and you've learned enough valuable lessons from playing in there to the point where you can actually defend that spot.
I'd say probably the prime contenders for that position would be Rise Nation.
Yeah, I think they should have been in Pro League over this Ghost team. The way that they play, I feel like they're sort of the better team overall at the moment. They've shown some pretty good results in qualifiers. They've really pushed every decent team that they've played. So that's a team I actually really enjoy watching.
Do you think GX have a chance of making it, Day's new team, in towards the Pro League?
I don't. They're playing some pretty subpar teams at the moment, and they're really struggling. And I think it's a little bit harsh to say, but I feel like at the moment they're all fairly mediocre, except for obviously Swag, who, you know, he's far from mediocre. He is pretty much like dropping 100 ADR literally every game, and they're barely winning.
Yeah,
so
Swag is the antithesis.
That's not a good.
Of mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, Swag, if you take him out of that GX lineup, they don't win a game against these sort of mid-tier Premier teams. So
maybe they get some more structure coming forward.
I think they just need to get some more structure. They need to overall improve individually. AZK's sort of been lacking behind lately. He's been on the bottom end of the scoreboard, obviously finding it hard to transition back into playing CS again. So, I mean, Dapper and Poyo, the other two, they play pretty decently most of the time. You know, they're a bit up and down, but they're not really expected to be hard carry star performers. I feel like Daze has improved his performance a little bit more. Swag's just been sick the whole time, so it's really up to the other three to step up, but it's really not going to be enough. They're not justifying the fact that they deserve a Pro League spot when you have one guy dropping 100 ADR every game and you're struggling to win.
If you dropped 110 ADR and you're struggling to, or 120 ADR, then it starts getting the question of why. So hopefully they do improve. A lot of teams inside the ECA Manager League, which is kind of, you could see them kind of pushing Ghost Gaming. I can also see the other way around, that Ghost Gaming have learnt a lot in these last couple of weeks. Now they've finally decided on a roster. They go, all right, this is our core 5. We're going to stick with it together. It seems like it's an actual decent core 5. I mean, you got Dallas, who's been playing around for a very, very long time. I mean, maybe not the top tier, but he has been playing CSGO ever since the early iterations of Global Offensive. And then you also have Wardell back into the lineup as well, who was originally part of the lineup. Brings a lot of additional firepower with the sniper rifle in towards the team, where that was something that was lacking before. You saw that they didn't really have a primary AWPer. And that was where it's kind of going, oh, you know, if you don't really have an AWPer, then things, and you keep trying to pick up an AWP, it's not really the best case scenario. He hasn't had like a massive performance yet. We're still waiting to see, but everyone hypes up this guy.
Yeah, I mean, everyone does hype up him, and I've seen him do some pretty decent rounds. You know, he hits a lot of, you know, fairly impressive shots that I've seen, but so far in terms of me watching the Ghost Gaming team, I mean, I've only really watched them in the Pro League and they haven't had the best of performances, have they? So, I mean, I'm still a little bit skeptical, to be honest. I haven't seen the sick games out of Wardell, but I don't follow the team closely enough to know, and I'm sure if there's enough hype justified around him that I've heard and I've seen the hype out of many, many people, that he's definitely probably had some good performances. Definitely, probably. Yep.
Definitely, probably, maybe?
Maybe.
Perhaps. All right. But on the side of Immortals, I mean, it's a devastating way, right? It's you're coming in, you want to be reinforcing the fact that you're a major finalist. Sure, weren't able to take down Gambit at the end of the PGL major, but moving forward, it was looking so positive for the team, but they had to make the lineup changes due to, well, shall I dare say it, team issues. I think everyone knows at this stage, but there were definitely team issues that were going on. And all of a sudden, a severe lack of firepower. You're left with Bolts and Steel to kind of recaliber and just try to go forward. Destiny seemed like such a strong pickup so far. He's actually been playing so well.
Yeah, I'm really worried about that team though because I mean Bolts is pretty sick at the moment. He's just a really really sick player. I think he's one of the top players in the world. I think in my opinion in terms of on the big stage and just in general consistency, I think he's a really sick player. But I feel like the person that's really lacking with all these team changes and stuff is like Steel at the moment. Like some of his performances have been really lackluster, and that's a really worrying sign because if anybody's really followed Steel's career, when back when they were LG and his Bolts and Steel playing on that lineup with Fer and Fallen and those guys before Cold came into the lineup and stuff, like whenever Steel is on a team that's having a bit of a lackluster performance and he doesn't have enough firepower and structure in his team, his individual performance seems to drop. And I'm seeing a little bit of that with this, lack of structure and lack of firepower in Immortals. And that's a really worrying sign because, he was one of the sort of stronger consistency players because he plays a supportive role and because he's not really that person to step up and just go hunt the kills, go, get into the game and actually put himself in a winning position. When his teammates are putting him in a position where he thrives, his performance just goes down the drain straight away. Like, he became that pillar of consistency and a really, really good player towards the end of Immortals when they were doing so well at the Major. But I feel like it's because of how the team was set up and how the team was structured. He had some aggressive players to sort of, make that foot forward into the game so he can come in behind and get himself in there. But now that that's sort of lacking in the team again, and it's similar to back to that LG side where he used to play that hard lurk role, back when that was actually a thing like a couple of years ago. He had some really bad performances. He had some really bad rating performances, and he was a big point of criticism back in that LG lineup, and that's what really led to his removal.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's able to learn from his experiences and whatnot. Sure, it's a troubling time. He had a really, really great performance against Optic, though, yesterday. I think it was on Overpass. They won 16-4 against Optic with this kind of new mixed match lineup. I mean, Horvy's come in now, and I don't think Horvy's performance set the world on fire just particularly yet, but Steel and Destiny both went something like 1.8 rating against Optic, which is pretty impressive if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, Destiny's a good person to really slot into that lineup, and it adds a sort of depth and a sort of element that wasn't really there before. It makes up for some of the things that they're lacking now that KNG and Henny's gone. They have that aggression that they sort of lost, but it's a sort of a different thing with Destiny, isn't it? Like, both of those two guys are AWPers and they like to go for the aggressive AWP picks. That guy seems to be a bit more like he's trying to be like a mini Fer or something like that. He's just really aggressive and tries to push for those kills and take the aim duels and stuff like that and really take the game into his hands and try to force some fights. And now that his form is really on point, that seems to be working really well for him. But even as we've seen with SK, who is pretty much considered the best team in the world at the moment, when you're not hitting your shots and you're perhaps challenging up jungle or banana and you're losing the aim duels, then that cannot really work for you, despite whether you're a top 5 player in the world or whether you're sort of a player up on the rise.
Absolutely. So hopefully both sides do bring their A game today because, as mentioned earlier, it is a crucial game. This is actually a very crucial game for both teams. Immortals, they're sitting at 4-8. Ghost sitting at 1-13, I believe it is, or 1-11. Regardless, you could say 1 or whatever. They're at the bottom of the scoreboard by very, very heavy round difference. They need to start picking up at least a couple of games just to make it a little bit more competitive so they can stay out of relegation. You said it was impossible. I don't think it's impossible yet, given just that there's about 3 or 4 teams down there at the lower echelons. But I do agree with you in the sense that Ghost Gaming, out of all the teams that we've seen so far, have been playing probably the weakest Counter-Strike out of all the teams inside the Pro League, which is not really it's not meant to be a slight or an insult. It's just, once again, it's a different tier. You're watching Optic, you're watching the Tier 1 NA teams, and you've got the Tier 2 NA teams. They're good, but unfortunately they can't match the firepower, and it just seems like Ghost Gaming at this stage is sitting just towards the mid or lower tier of the Tier 2 teams.
Yeah, I mean, Tier 2 in NA, yeah, I would have to agree with that. It's just sort of, it is what it is. They've had the performance that they've had. They've had some sort of roster instability with already being a weaker team, and I feel like maybe once they work that out, that their performances might really improve. I mean, we've seen Rogue, which is in a similar position. They had a woeful start playing with stand-ins, in the start of the Pro League, but now that they've actually got their proper roster together, they seem to be turning things around a little bit, having some better performances. I mean, we even saw them get the 2-0 over Immortals, which has put them a lot up the standings. I think they were down 1-8 or something, and now they're 3-8.
Yeah.
So I feel like they can really turn around their campaign. And, you know, if you're going to talk about a team who has a good shot at actually preventing themselves from facing relegation, then I think Rogue's got a lot better chance than Ghost does if you're talking about those sort of tier 2 teams.
I still think as well, a lot of the teams at the bottom, they still can make a little bit of resurgence and try to make their way towards the bottom of the Pro League finals. Anything is possible. That's why I love it. I always love, I mean, we're about near the halfway point of the season, but I always love it when it gets towards the end of the season where it's just like that final push. You can see teams struggling. I think last season was like a final match day. I believe it was match day number 30 or something like that. And it was literally that match they were playing, Luminosity versus someone. It would determine who would make it into Pro League finals and who wouldn't.
Look,
it's never over until the final day sometimes. Like the results, the stars are never aligned until it finally hits that the prophesized date.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal anyway, to be honest, Kev, because, you know,
but imagine
Renegades are doing really well at the moment. They're second, and as we all know, even if you come 9th in Pro League, Renegades has to go to the Asia Minor on the exact same day every single time anyway. So, you know, if you come 9th, you're pretty much guaranteed a spot anyway, as long as Renegades is doing well.
Well, my point is that as long as you can make your push towards the final bunch of teams, there is no saying that, you know, a team like Rogue, even Complexity or Splice can't make their way towards the finals. Given like if they show up, look at that doubtful face. You don't believe. You just got to believe sometimes. I believe
Optimist and pessimist, I'm afraid, Kev. I don't see it from Ghost. As I said,
I didn't mention Ghost in there.
Oh,
you have to notice that. Okay, I said Rogue because they finally got their 5 lineup together.
Can you stop trashing your boys, please?
I'm not trashing my boys. It's just it's realistic at this stage. I think Ghost, if they're able to avoid, they should be able to avoid relegation if they're able to put some good performances forward. If not, at the very least, they'll get enough experience if they keep this lineup that they should be able to come back into Pro League because they've got the recipe for success. They've got the critical players that they need there. They've got the mix of, I guess, increased experience amongst all of them, and if they can take that all forward, there's no stating that they can't come back in the next season or the season afterwards and do some damage because they can only improve. You can't really go backwards, or you'd hope they wouldn't. You can go backwards, but you'd hope they wouldn't because it's just in the previous bunch of games. Like I said, you know, I'm seeing that there at least is recipe for success. I mean, sure, they're losing anti-eco still. Yeah, that's always a bad side.
If it comes down to relegation and they're playing a team like Rise Nation, I just don't see them keeping their spot in Pro League. However, I feel like, I don't know, that Ghost team, it's impossible to tell sometimes. Sometimes they can really show up and do quite a lot of damage. I mean, and you're right, they do have the recipe for success in terms of the roles at least. Like, they've got, you know, a mix of different skills on the lineup, and that's what's interesting to me about the Ghost team. Like, in these up-and-coming teams, sometimes you just got a bunch of guys who can aim pretty good in a straight line, and they have some pretty basic tactics, and that can really sort of put them a cut above some of the Premier teams and mean that they can make their way into the Pro League, you know, it's that way. But Ghosts, I feel like they have some of that element, but they also have a mix of different players who have different skills, and that's what makes it interesting to watch. I mean, you got Connor, who's got some pretty nice entries, and then you've got some pretty good lurky players, and like Seb and Rix, what else, a good AWPer. Then you got your boy Dallas, who haven't seen too much from him, but in general, he seems like a pretty decent, like, fragging in-game leader. Like, he's got some pretty basic calls, nothing that's blowing me away, to be honest, but he can at least put in 1-for-1s. And if you got an IGL that's got a 1.0 rating, and you got 4 other guys that are putting in decent performances, then that always makes for a difficult team to beat.
I was also going to say that he's from Canada, and, you know, I can point out the amount of good IGLs that come from Canada. Maybe he could be the next one.
They're just more even-tempered people. They just make better decisions because they're more chill.
Now we're stereotyping, though. I don't think that's very fair. But taking a quick look at the odds, it is, once again, favored for Immortals. I'd say that that's about reasonable. Probably should be a little bit more in Immortals' favor. A little bit more, I'd say.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, even with the standards, unless Ghost really show up and come out like, you know, red hot out of the gates, you know, ready, charging out. They've been stratting and pracking all week. They found out the recipe for success. You know, they're gonna just stroll forward, you know, tap some heads, execute perfectly, hold off and fend off against aggression. I think it will be a close match, but Immortals should still be able to take it.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I'm going to go for Immortals on both maps. I don't really need to know what maps they are, and that's just based off performance, and I think that, yeah, I mean, all factors point to the fact that Immortals should be able to take out this game. Ghost is going to need to overperform. They're going to need to show us something that they haven't shown us all season, because even that win against Liquid doesn't really count, because I put that one down to your boy B leading the boys, and that's not a factor this game, unfortunately.
Always just got to believe in B.
He's not here.
He is there in the server. He's got the spirit there.
I'm just waiting for the day when they get down to the point where they could be relegated or not relegated, and it's the second map, and it's the map that they need to win, and B just kicks someone off the server and steps in and just balls out of control.
I have graduated. I am ready to play some Counter-Strike. But Ghost are going to be on the T side, and they're going to be barreling straight down through mid. Smoke towards danger, but this is a little bit dangerous because there are 3 people waiting at the long A position. But look at this. They're just going straight in towards the column. And Zach, the coach, takes down 2. That is favorable trading. He's now identified the information, and all Horvey needs to do, the newest addition, he's finally got his visa in order. He just has to hold towards the B site. Rest of the Immortals just need to make sure that he can't come back in. But Bolts gives his life very easily away as Connor finds a potential opportunity for Immortals now to strike at the A bomb site.
Do indeed, still in a pretty good position over here on the tree as Ghost try to make their way through the connector. Connor just leaping out the balcony there, spots out Steel, who's going to take a couple more shots, play a bit more aggressive. He's going to pick off Seb, so his job's done. Bomb dropped, he's going to grab himself another one, so silencing a lot of my worries, perhaps. He's going to rush down the bomb planter, doesn't want Connor to get the bomb down. The rest of the team is going to follow suit, so fairly stock standard pistol round. Ghost put themselves in a pretty good position getting into connector there, but Zach gets the 2 kills, and that really slows down the round because there's so much ground to take. Once you take that connector position, you got to make your way through drop, you got to make your way outdoor if you're going to go towards B, which means that you got to potentially fight the plat line, you got to fight the coop line that didn't really have anyone else in position to sort of flank around and enable them to do that. And going back towards A, you're also jumping out a couple of choke points, and Steel put himself in a really good position towards side hall there. So losing that first 2, I wouldn't recommend that from Wardell, but he makes it work with a pretty sick deagle shot there. But like I said, you know, once you put yourself in that position and you lose 2 kills early, it means you just got less bodies to trade and take map control with.
Ghost have forced up in towards this round. They didn't manage to get a bomb plant down. Early pick means that they do have control of danger and sewers, but just forces Immortals to rotate 1 extra member across. All of Immortals' new signups going to be playing towards the B side, so potentially looking to improve the synergy, or maybe they just going, all right, we can lock down the A site with whoever we have. I think Steel and Bolts did used to play the A site together as well, so, and they are going to be peeking to B plat. Destiny will be challenged, spots a few out, but he's been holding onto the smoke grenade, allows him to come close and accurate because it means he gets all 3 trying to push out through the smoke. Very easy stuff for him, and Zach will clean up with the MP9 just to add a little bit more bank account. But Destiny, that was really, really smart played with the smoke grenade, just holding on towards it, doesn't use his utility early on, and he gets rewarded with 3 kills, and he can upgrade to the M4 and drop the teammate a UMP.
Yeah, lots of SMGs across the board there, and Immortals making themselves plenty of money, shutting down that force buy. Wardell did not force buy, and he will lock into this round, so he's straight on the AWP once again. Would really like to see a good performance from him out with the AWP. Haven't seen him make too much impact personally, but hopefully he lives up to the hype this game.
Sometimes you just gotta believe.
Sometimes.
No? Okay.
No, I'm not feeling it today.
Roger that.
We will see if Ghost will take drop control. Steel just smokes it off, and they're just going to turn around and be like, oh no. It's like when you roll up to your restaurants getting around the sort of 9-10 PM mark, and they go, oh, kitchen's closed, and they all turn around and walk back out of drop.
I mean, they wanted to come in, wanted to go in together, but it's not going to work out. Destiny pushing very close with the M4. It's a little bit dangerous. He is pushing with a teammate, though, but they are still committing towards drop, just making a little bit of noise, just unsettling Ghost as they're ready to bust out on the single flashbang from Connor. There it is. There's a pop flash ready in hand, and Zach, he's got a lot of work to do to hold this off. But that flash, oh my goodness. It doesn't flash anyone but the T's. They still would proceed in towards drop, though, but they can't come out through the E-box side. Steel is locking down the other angle. Zach just going to be spraying forward as Steel will pick up 2 with the UMP. Should be able to pick up the 3rd as well with the assistance. And there you have it. Steel with 4, Zach with 1.
Steel is looking sharp.
But that flashbang, oh my goodness.
Hey, look, it worked. Did you see how sick that was? They took the drop control. That flashbang.
Oh, that is karate tier flashbangs. Right? Go, yeah, I'm going to throw a flash. Whoops, my whole team's blind. No one from the enemy team's blind. We all die. At least it was just a pistol round, but there's a buy round coming out now. Wardell does not have header armor on the AWP, so it does need to be cautious. Immortals will still keep some of the UMPs, so a little bit of a bonus round for those who decided to not upgrade their infrastructure.
They will use pretty good positioning with those UMPs. They're just going to double up on A long, so they'll hold that area of the map. It's the first gun round, so Connor can't really know that mid's undefended and really take advantage of that. And when you're sort of spreading out in the first round, you're trying to work out how your opponent's playing, which means that he can't just walk up danger. That'd be way too ballsy of a move, really. And
unless your name is JKS.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't even do it in the first gun round anyway. He does it when he's got a bit more of a better read on things. So even JKS, not really going to do those kind of things.
Yeah, he needs a read. He needs utility to kind of take control, and that's what Connor doesn't really have at this stage. But Rick's much better flashbang coming out from Cbble this time around. Allows them to get an easy pick on towards Zach, and that's actually one of the M4's lost as well as Steel. He is playing very aggressive right now. Might be punished for it because he's been spotted out. It's just going to spray through the wall. Had to go for information. It's not going to work out this particular time. And Rix has already dropped down through the drop column, but Horvey managed to rotate just in time to equalize the score just a little bit. But Bolts, he can't make that deal with the UMP. Not right now. Horvey, though, stepping up, getting 3 in this round, trying to make it at least a little bit more competitive. Is now just going to wait for Destiny to rotate across, but they don't have much utility to work with. 2-on-2. Wardell's got the AWP, but no head armor, which means that he is a one-shot by these M4s if they do manage to find their head. Unique plant situation coming out. You don't really see that plant position coming out a lot of the time, but it may manage to make it work. Wardell, finds the high HP player in Destiny. Great shot from him. This round should be all in the favor of Immortals, but not if Horvey has anything to say about it. He's tagged down. He's taken very, very low, but he still can take this out. Dallas is also one headshot away, but Dallas will be able to clutch it out. The Canadian IGL, but that was a good round from both sides, but particularly from Horvey, nearly made it Immortals' dream day.
Did indeed, and that was a really great round from Horvey, as you said, and that's going to, although not winning the round, not closing out the one-on-one.
Does a lot of damage, though.
He does an incredible amount of damage. Look at Connor. He's got Tech 9s. He's got a bit of utility, but we saw how he used that in the other round, so that's not going to be too much of a help for him.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe he'll improve.
Yeah, learn from his mistakes, perhaps.
Exactly. That's what you do as a Counter-Strike player. If you never throw a flashbang, you'll never know whether you succeed or fail. So sometimes you throw one, you fail, and then you'll learn for next time. Then you'll throw the sickest pop flash in the world.
Look, I used to have a teammate who threw some pretty terrible flashbangs, and honestly, there was a whole period where we had to ban him from using flashes at all. Steel has pushed it up all the way through A long, so he's got his teammates all of the information. They will know exactly what's going on. They know Ghost is going to go for this B push. Zach in position to sort of try to defend the drop. Just going to try and get a 1-for-1 with that CZ, where the rest of Immortals are in really good position. What was that grenade? Was that a team nade?
Yeah, I think it was from Destiny. Destiny goes, hey Zach, I love you. And then Zach goes, that wasn't a flashbang or a smoke, that was an HE grenade you dropped on my head.
Hey coach, remember this sick nade you showed me?
You meant to use it against the enemy, not me, bro. I don't think they talk like that, but we'll just go for the sake of it, because anyone that says bro, it's a lot better. But Destiny's still holding close. He's playing aggressive. We'll find a 1-for-1. Wardell, though, ready and waiting for the trade. They do have drop room control, but they can't really bust out at the moment. Horvey just playing behind Statue. Will be spotted out. Oh, still taken out by Wardell. Still managed to get the pick. Coming in from behind, as a matter of fact. They're still busting out, but these smokes at Rock just completely obscuring the vision of the Immortals players. They can't really do anything. As Steel trying to push in the drop. Will get punished for it. Rick's now coming across. Cbble will manage to find another headshot. Bolt, 2. Can he get the 3rd? Yes, he can. Bolt steps up. Won't be able to retrieve the AWP, I think, but still. Gets an AK-47. Immortals will be able to get the round. Ghost Gaming are reset a little bit, but these last 2 rounds have really just gone down towards 2 1-on-1s. This is actually a very, very tight game so far.
Pretty good first 3 kills of the game from Bolts. I would say pretty important ones as he closes out that gun round and puts him all, Ghost on the reset. And they're not going to buy into this one. They're just going to take the sensible decision. It's pretty early in the game. There's no point trying to force anything out. They'll have plenty of buy rounds to come. And Bolt's feeling confident after that first little 3k in the gun round. He's going to apply the pressure to Ghost. Takes the long range engagement with the AK as he knows that they're probably pretty low money. Still playing up close to long here. He's going to hear Dallas charging through wood here.
And
Dallas wins the fight, but he's got no teammates backing him up. If they were in position to trade that, this could potentially be dangerous for Immortals, but unfortunately, not the case. Immortals, Ghost just playing a little bit too slow, and Immortals are going to punish them for it. And people being a little bit skeptical about some of these Immortals changes, and I don't know, these new additions, Horvey and Destiny, both of them looking like pretty sharp riflers.
In my mind, there is only one thing that Immortals needs right now.
An AWPer.
An AWPer.
For the first time ever. Before they had too many, and now they have not enough.
I mean, like, you can see Destiny picking up the AWP, but he's more of a secondary AWPer. Is like, I know this, like, sick pick. I can definitely get this pick and fall back. You know, it's the one that you want to win a game with, potentially. And now Ghost actually going for another fast push. Needs to be cautious, though. They've lost the bomb. Steel is still there, and Destiny and Steel teaming up this time around, doing great work to take down all their members. P250 comes up, but he won't be able to clean up the kill. Dallas, he'll get one pick. Now he's going to try and fall back. UMP comes out, and Steel, what are you doing? Steel, what are you doing? He's just charging you with a knife. Does not care. And Horvey, though, has bullets inside the UMP. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight, mate. Not in that position. Regardless, Immortals, very quick to anti-eco rounds going in their favor. And Ghosts, they managed to come close in the buy rounds. It's come close every single time in the buy round so far, but they need to try to close this out convincingly. They need to keep at least 2 or 3 guns alive, otherwise they're just liable to get reset every single time.
True that, Kevin. True that. And honestly, this B-plat could be a really big point of contention, but still going to back off. He's playing so aggressive in this game. Really surprising things from him. He's going to get boosted up tree. I don't really think that was really BM from Steel. I mean, for anyone who's seen any interviews with him or anything like that, I don't think he has a bad bone in his body. I don't think he's capable of BM. So, you know, probably just joking around a little bit in the early parts of this game.
Well, in terms of the knife, yeah. I mean, I would have probably gone for it as well, but it's just risky considering that your economy is not in the best state yet. The buy rounds have been pretty close.
Yeah.
It's not the part where I'm like, yeah, as Immortals, I'd be 100%. If I was in like Immortals shoes at the moment, I wouldn't be 100% confident because a lot of the rounds have just gone. It has been those 50-50 rounds. Could have gone in our favor, could have gone in Ghost's favor, depending on those final aim deals. So it's more in the sense for me. You shouldn't risk it that earlier. So up 9-1, rounds were starting to become a little bit easier. Sure.
Look at this rotation from Bolts. He's already clued on to the fact that this is going to be a B hit. Sick entry from Cobber. Connor 93 Cobber. As he, the wall of smokes come down, and those 2 entries are just so huge from Ghost, you know. They have absolutely decimated that B site, despite having 4 on it from the Immortals side. They were clued on to the fact that that was a B push, you know. Bolts and Steel really pushed up that long A area and got the information, and we're into a 2v3. It is winnable for Immortals here, and Destiny's going to pew off a couple of shots onto Wardell, but Dallas just rips his head off, and Bolts is going to have to save. So, nice little round there from Ghost. Good little wall of smoke strat, and I would say that it's a little bit too early to be knifing people, because honestly, Ghost is looking pretty sharp in this game. Their players are looking pretty clued on. They want to get some more wins on the board, it looks like, and they're not here to just get, roll over and die. Unfortunately, I think at the moment their downfall is not the fact that they're individually playing badly. I think that it's just like the questionable decisions in the mid-round might be their downfall, and the experience of Immortals will really put themselves on another level. I feel like that's the problem at the moment. What the hell is going on? What is that?
That's next level. That is indeed next level. Okay, he's back. It looked a little bit scary for a moment, not gonna lie, but Ghost will be able to force up another 4 buy after keeping 3 guns forward, but so will Immortals, so looking to keep it competitive, but Immortals are in a little bit of danger of getting reset.
Horvy's an AWPer, Kev.
But maybe it's just to hold the B-plat aggression. Like, a lot of the time. In my mind, it's like someone... Maybe. I didn't pick him up as the AWPer. I thought that he was a rifler.
Well, He's an AWPer now.
Well, technically it is a rifle. It's a semi-automatic rifle. It's a bolt-action rifle, so technically he is a rifler.
You're always a rifler no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless
I'm never wrong.
unless
I'm not wrong.
Unless you main the XM with 2 flashes, mate.
Oh, don't we call it a break strat?
Yeah, unfortunately we won't be seeing anything more of that, and I don't think anybody will really get that meme.
It's alright. We'll just have a moment between us two, and then we'll just move on with it.
Oh no, I feel like a slight explanation is in order. There's an infamous Australian player who literally in all of his competitive matches, literally competitions, just uses the XM. He doesn't actually buy a rifle. He uses the XM, no matter what. Yeah, and he does alright with it.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, it's all over from that point. Looks like a bit of an A execute from Ghost Gaming this time.
And
Smoke's being flashed over from A, and Rick's in position to lurk from drop. He's been doing some great work from there.
I actually
Looks like
like
Ghost have done their homework.
Yeah, I really like this smoke grenade. I was about to say, onto the APC, it kind of forces the AWP off, but they still need to be cautious because that's a really good counter incendiary grenade. And Connor 93, once again, with a crucial entry kill and gets the information. Rick's now on the lurk, means that he can shut down this player coming from B side as long as he can hear... No. Does Rick's hear Horvey? Okay, he should have heard him, but it looks like he's just going to back out, and Ghost just explosive onto the A side. Once again, Immortals have a good read of the situation, but they can't do anything about it.
They cannot indeed. The only thing Ghosts are left to do after pretty much winning this round is that they don't want Horvey to save that ult. That's all they got left.
Yeah, as long as they can take down Horvey. Horvey's still dancing around B plat. It's a strong position, but no one's actually challenging it for now. So Ghost might just look to take their weapons forward. They're just going on a soft hunt, not really hard, aggressive. Might be Seb that sacrifices his life because he's already so low in 17.
A soft hunt. I just picture like a bunch of guys with rifles like rolling out into the woods, and then when they find like a deer or a rabbit or something, they just run after it. They pick it up and they're like, "Hey!"
I mean in the sense because a hard engagement hunt would be like 4 people sprinting full force trying to find the guy.
Yeah.
But you can only see that one guy was just slowly walking, seeing if you could find something. The other guys were more interested in saving the weapons. That's what I meant by soft hunt. They were like not really committed into it.
I understand, Kev. And the only thing Immortals are really interested in saving now is their money, because they are broke. And 2 pretty nice strats from Ghost, in all honesty, really well executed, are going to put themselves back in the driver's seat of this game, really. And that's what they really need. I mean, on Cbble, you need to grab those key rounds. You can't be falling behind the CT side in terms of round count, so... Immortals off to a good start. It's going to mean that it's going to be a little bit more of a grind for Ghost, but they are putting themselves in a pretty good position. And honestly, that last round, you know, that was a round that, you know, showed us that they're a little bit wise beyond their years. That was a bit of a Na'Vi strat. They had about 8 seconds to go with that bomb plant and beautifully executed, waiting for Connor to get into position after those smokes come down, and he makes the big impact entry from APC once again. You know, that guy's insane. Gets it so consistently. If you get Connor into the position where he's able to get, you know, a pick on the CT side, he's going to get it like a pretty good percentage of the time.
It just feels like to me, Ghost, if they go in together, and it looks like they are right now, if they're all on the same page, the only thing that can stop them is a sick Immortals play together as well. But so far, we haven't seen anything come out outside, you know, of bolts and maybe one round from Horvey, which he wasn't unable to convert, unfortunately. And now they've managed to take drop room control down towards the last 27 seconds. They've pushed Horvey back, as a matter of fact, with the AWP. He will still get the pick on towards Dallas, but here comes a push. They are unable to push the AWPer off. Horvey's already picked off 2. Finally, Connor 93 is going to come around, but Zach is still lurking inside the smoke. They may not suspect this. He's only got a USB. Connor's going to try and get the bomb plant down, but he hasn't checked the right line. Does manage to turn around just in time. No, he won't. Wardell finally manages to land the pick, but oh my goodness, bolts! He can come out to another bomb plant, but he won't. He's just holding the line right now. He will be spotted out by Rix, but Rix will win the aim deal. Oh, it goes a little bit hairy for Ghost. They don't really check the lines correctly. Left it a little bit late. It was scary, but they did manage to take the round. They just need to shake themselves up a little bit. That's not the round that you wanted to That's not the kind of round that you want to do against 1 AWP and 4 pistols.
Yeah. And like you said, bit hairy, bit scary. I guess you could call that round a werewolf, Kevin. As the T side going to walk towards the A side of the map once again. Rick's going to be lurking out that drop. And just a contact play straight out mid. They're going for it this time. Good little change of pace. They grab the mid control and then they slow it right down. Smoke on the danger. They're not going to force themselves up that mid ramp because, you know, once you're up that mid-ramp and the flashes are just flying over connector and you're getting relentlessly peaked by that annoying player who just re-peaks outdoor again and again, there's not really much you can do. You're kind of caught out in the open, and ooh, Bolt's in a really good position here. Grenade comes out and doesn't really dunk Connor for too much damage.
It puts them in headshot range, though. Like, a single headshot will now kill 3 of them, effectively. So that nade is, yeah, it doesn't do a heavy chunk, but it does put them into those one-shot zone.
I had not considered that, Kevin, but you are indeed correct.
Just barely, because 84 and 1, I think, is... It's like 84, 85 is like the damage that you do with an M4 with a headshot.
Kev, how do you know this stuff? You can't even aim in a straight line in Counter-Strike, mate.
I just do the maths instead. I just like, it's just the W and then mouse 1, and then afterwards it's just all luck.
I just feel like you playing CS is like all these calculations going off in your head, and then you can't get the kill.
Not wrong. And then I just go for like, oh, I don't care. I'm just gonna push and just react or whatever, and I just get 3 kills. It's
that's how CS works, mate.
That's pug. In actual games like this, you do have to go full cerebral mode. And Seb, he tries lurking towards the other side. It's not going to work out. And Rick, he can't really peek the under the window position, just dry like that. And now they do manage to push towards the B side. I mean, Destiny playing close towards the smoke once again. Ghost have seen that before. They're going to punish him. But there's no smokes. Very little time for Ghost to work with. They're just going to walk into absolute slaughter. The rifles are just lining up. It's a firing range down at the B side, and Ghost, you can't really do that.
They took the mid control and they didn't really do anything with it. They didn't leave anybody on the lurk towards A. They just took the mid control to keep Immortals honest, and then they hit that B. And unfortunately, the thing is that when you're versing a team like Immortals that's got, you know, all that experience, they played about 500 high pressure matches on Cobblestone. They're not going to be afraid to make that information play towards the A bomb site, and it's really allowing them to get these cheat rotations over onto B, and unless Ghosts are getting those 2 clean entries like we saw on that wall of smokes, strat from, the Ghost side, when you're running into a 4 stack on B, it's a pretty painful experience.
And Zach has been boosted up and he's got so much information right now. They're not towards drop. And here he goes. Here he comes. He'll take down Wardell. He's spraying forward. It doesn't matter if he dies at the stage. They've got the information. It's a full B side execute and they can rotate the members across. But Seb still gets, it's Destiny just lurking close to the smoke. He's going to find 2. He should find the 3rd, but he can't. Just move at the right time, and now Horvey decides to strike, and Dallas has been spotted out. Dallas doing some good damage, but he shouldn't be able to win this round. Now down towards 5-2, pushing him at the same time. The double peak finds the head of steel, but can't find anything on towards Bolt, so it becomes a little bit closer, but Ghost, finally, their economy has been broken. And a tactical pause should come out from them as well, because things are starting to fall a little bit apart for them.
Yeah, this is the kind of scoreline that you don't want to see on CT, and unfortunately, the situation Ghost is in is a painful one because right now they've got about 3k and they're down 8-4. Ecoing means that they're pretty much going to concede the 9th round to Immortals, and on Cobblestone, you really don't want to give your opponents on CT 9 rounds because it's so easy to just sort of grind away those T rounds. If they win pistol, they only need to make a couple of good calls on the T side and then it's all over for you.
Absolutely. Not much to say. I mean, it's Ghost they started off so positively. It was just like, hey, it looks like they have some structure, looking pretty good. But then it got towards the end where they tried doing the late round executes too many times, and it doesn't really work out too well.
I don't know if that's what it is. Feels like they're trying to go a little bit too, ham at the moment. Like, try to mix it up with too many strategies, I feel like. I feel like a lot of these sort of less experienced teams, they get to the point where they're like, oh, we're versing X experienced team, we're versing Immortals, we're versing this team, we're versing that team. And they go, well, we've done this strat and we've done this strat. They must already know how to beat that. They must already know how to counter that. Even though it worked for them, they don't do it again. They do something different and then move that in. And that's and they end up playing themselves, essentially. Just go back to that B wall of smoke strat. Go back to that A strat. You did it once. You know what was good about it and you know what was bad about it because of what Immortals did to sort of, to counter it. You know what their sort of positionings were. You had a feeling for their rotations. So you just do the same strat and chuck a little twist on it. Do something slightly different. Don't go for this fast mid control and then, I feel like holding that E-box position with a silence is it's not the best decision there from Zach. And this round could get really ugly here for Immortals. They're dropping players.
Yeah, well, Bolt's not if he has anything to say about it, because Bolt steps up a lot of time, but he can't do it this time around. There's just too many members alive. It's up to Destiny. He'll find the low HP Connor and Rix. You can't really head there just yet, because you don't have the bomb. He has an M4 in hand, but he's not going to use it. Fairly certain Destiny spotted him on the cross, so knows that Rix is crossed back.
He might not have, because there's a woods there. I mean, he might not have been peeking the deep line. Rix is going to cross over now and runs into Destiny's line. And unfortunately, old mate Cbble93 getting caught on the cross there.
It was low already, and Immortals managed to salvage. I feel like it was that should have been Ghost. That should have been Ghost round in my mind. But yes, you're right. They are in danger of being reset, and Ghost could still clean up with a 6-9 half, but they have to capitalize in Cbble93. Mac 10. Seb has a Galil.
Most crucial round for you on the side of Ghost, and you go for the Mac 10. All right, mate.
Mac 10's perfectly fine. You go for the Galil? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
I would take the Mac 10 over the Galil. It means that you can actually get a utility.
I'll go for the CZ personally. Just veto both of them.
Mac 10's like a CZ, but it has more bullets in it.
What? No, not really.
You have to get close, you sprint, and you just hope you hit the head. And you get a few more body shots behind it. That's literally it.
The CZ shoots like...
Shoots like what?
Shoots big rocks and...
Yeah, see? Look, I told you.
That is not...
Headshots, see? Headshots. Headshot. But Horvey trades on the side statue. There is still one at the back side. It's going to be Steel. If he pounces at the right time, he will be able to find one. Finds two as well. Drops the bomb carrier. Big plays coming out from Steel. Now it's up to Rix. 1-on-1 against Bolts. He's made too much noise. Bolts, this is too easy for him to clean up. And Ghost Gaming are going to be very, very poor in the final round. So is Immortals, but hey, they'll have assault rifles to work with. Ghost will not.
Ghost are broke. Do not listen to Kevin's advice about the Mac 10. I do not advise to use it in actual games. It won't work that way. As
Look, you just got to channel the spirit of Cbble93.
Cbble93. The entry god.
No surprises that it is on Cobblestone. Okay, Wardell. Okay, takes down Steel.
Yeah, going to need a little bit more of that, perhaps in the next half, as 10-5, even if Ghosts do secure this round, is a painful scoreline to say the least on Cbble. And Ghosts just had some really clean rounds, but after that, they just couldn't get anything going, really. Even had entries in the last round, but just the individual star power for Immortals working out a little bit better. And I feel like Ghost, they have these cool strategies and they have some decent sort of positioning in some scenarios, but they really need to work out their mid-round a little bit better.
And Destiny will be punished for over-aggressing towards the B side after the smoke faded with no backup. So Horvey has to go a long way around. Now Bolts has to step up one more time. They're going to line up for Bolts. Wardell does manage to get the trade once again, but the bomb is actually making its way towards B side, so potentially they can draw Horvey across. Wardell just needs to sit there and just make noise. Horvey will hear these guys and drop at the moment, and he will be able to do some severe damage. He's able to catch them off, but no, Seb, ready and waiting. They should know where the last CT is now, because he's taking down Wardell, but tagged down towards 19 as well. Ghost should be able to take the final round, barring a huge play out of Zach. I don't think it's possible, but anything goes in the world of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I don't know if this one really goes. They're in pretty good post-plant positions. It would take a pretty huge blunder here from Ghost to lose this round. Good little flashbang out there. Just going to grab a couple extra seconds. And honestly, Zach's got no kit. There's good post-plant positions coming out from Ghost. They're shouldering the angles for information. Zach is spotted out. Rix picks the angle and just takes him out. So good job there from your boys Ghost to close out the last round of the half. But they're going to need a little bit more, especially heading into their CT side. I feel like it's going to be quite hard to stop Immortals, especially if Destiny's feeling himself on the T side.
Absolutely. So let's see what Immortals can do on their T side after the break. welcome back. It is halftime between Immortals as well as Ghost Gaming. Pillar, you need to help me here for a bit. It's 10-5, but I need some better way of coming back and saying it is halftime. Is there another word that I can use to describe?
It's the Passover point. It's the turnover time. It's time to shake things up.
Okay.
It's time to get funky and a little bit sexy, perhaps.
Okay, turnover point. What was the turning point for that half? I'll work with that.
The turning point for that half, I feel like, was the fact that Ghosts got mercilessly reset on multiple occasions. They had some pretty nice strategies, but unfortunately, a couple of those close round scenarios really meaning that, you know, Immortals were able to close out the clutches. They lost a couple of, 1v1s, 2v2s, XVXs, etc. And their money got reset all the time, which meant that they weren't able to really get on a roll economically, get the rounds together. And I feel like, although they have some pretty interesting strategies and they have some pretty good defaults, and Rix has a pretty good idea of how to get himself some connector control, their mid-round decision-making and team play needs a little bit of work when things come down to it. They need to expend a little bit of utility once they've got that plat control to sort of pick that rock angle, take control of the actual bomb site, maybe get some tree boosts. That's what they need to work on. Connector control in here from Immortals, and 3 of their players will charge up the connector up through the balcony, take control of the A-bomb site. Ghost is just going to play retake. They're going to swap sides. Now Ghost will be the terrorists, and they will try to take control of the connector in A site once the bomb goes down. So now Ghost is on the terrorist side. Take it away, Kev.
I'll still be able to find the first head on towards Wardell. Still dancing around, and potentially we will be able to find more, but it is not to be. Seb's still alive, though. They tried double pushing him. It didn't work out. Finally shutting him down, but it's now down towards a 1-on-2. Zach, the coach, 1-on-1. He was already too low on the side of Rix, and Zach makes it look too easy with 2 Glock kills. He can't miss those. And as you were saying earlier, Zach must be the best player coach in your mind. Just comes in and is just in the lead. No worries. All right, A side's clear. Plays for the retake, gets 2 kills, and wins the ever-important pistol round for Immortals.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of anybody else that's much better. Sonic didn't do too bad for Astralis at the major, securing themselves legend status, so that might be a little bit more up there in my mind, but Zach doesn't go too bad in terms of coaches filling in. Probably better than average.
Better than average. As Immortals just go for a little bit of a B-side play. Destiny coming very fast down with the AK-47. Tagged down by Seb. He couldn't find the headshot with the CZ, and it could have been the turning point of the battle. Connor still trying to push forward, but Horvey doing so much damage to his AK-47. Just cracks open the speed bomb site, and it's now for the taking for Immortals and Rix. Oh, he'll be last standing. Just probably going to be dancing around, trying to stay safe, maybe find a few kills if he's able to, but yeah, very quick round for Immortals. Very clean. All members alive, maybe a little bit tagged, but after this round, they'll head home, get some first aid, apply some bandages.
Maybe drink a Red Bull, because apparently that's good for your health.
No, I don't think so.
Hey, if PUBG says that it's good for your health, then I'm gonna take that advice over your advice, Kevin.
I'd say stick with water and probably bananas. That's the best way, and just lie in bed and just rest. Just rest. It's good.
Okay, so drink waters, eat bananas, and lay in bed.
And rest.
In general.
You're sick, have some more soup. I've heard like some of the, like on the topic of, the common cold, when you have a really sore throat and whatnot?
Yeah.
I heard of this really, really odd cure, okay? And I'm not certain if it actually works. I haven't tried it out, but you normally know how you're meant to have honey, right? So you get honey and pepper, can't remember if it's black or white, you put the pepper inside the honey and you just drink it all.
Yeah, it sounds alright. Can I instead just make like a honey and pepper, like, stir fry or something?
I don't think so.
Damn.
No, it has to just go straight down, just like Immortals are going straight towards the B bomb site. But they're going to eat a few grenades, just bolts though. But they're lining up in Halley. Oh my goodness, Horvey is going to catch that grenade. Good catch from him. But Immortals, how fast can they actually rotate back towards the A bomb site? This is all up to Steel or Zach to kind of hold this rotation out after Destiny managed to take down Connor. Zach's going to take a little bit of damage, but he's still holding close. Oh, shot from Wardell though, and Destiny was pushing up towards B plat. I'm uncertain for what reason. Now it's off to Steel, 1-on-3.
He's got to do it for his #1 fam, Graydon, apparently. And he's doing him proud with the UMP. Do it for Graydon, Steel. Do it. He's got the bomb. just waiting out any early rotations from Ghost. They're not going to make the move too quickly here. Steel's got no bloody idea where they are, to be honest. He's just hoping that they're both towards B, as it was Zach there. So he doesn't know for sure if they were both there, but most likely anyway. But he's going to take that risk.
He has to try to isolate towards 2 1-on-1s, so he's going to make a chance play. It's going to work out because no one is watching that sector. They're both going through vent. He spotted out one. Oh my goodness. Steel. Such sick plays, but he has not spotted out the... He has spotted out 7. Oh. He just goes into the repeat, but can't land the body shot. Unfortunate with the UMP. Cbble will have enough time to get the defuse. Oh my goodness, that was so close towards being such a sick play. Ghost Gaming, though, they grab a round really out of nowhere. Immortals do kind of drop on the back of just a few invested grenades and a B stack. Incorrect counter response also coming out from Immortals, where Destiny is like, no, I still want to go B. Zach's already like, I've got A. Then he gets completely demolished by Wardell with the CZ, and that was the turning point in the round. If Zach was able to stay alive, there was no way for the CTs to get safely on towards the A bomb site. Immortals could have gone there, would have played retake with the rifles. But instead, there were 2 rifles in the hands of the Ghost Gaming players after Wardell got the kill. It would never be the same.
And Immortals is not going to learn from their mistakes. They're just going to charge out B-plat again. Not really going too well once again. They're quickly in a 5-on-2, and Destiny's going to dunk Wardell, grab another one as well. So he is put in a 1v3. He's going to have to ace to win the round. See how he goes. He's got a Molotov to flush out that pizza position. He's got a smoke to segment off an angle, and he's just going to go walk about a little bit, checking the flank. Drops down. Dallas has probably heard this, and he has posted up on the alley angle. That's a little bit awkward of timing there from Dallas, but still makes it work. And Immortals should be reset now.
Immortals, what they need to do is maybe fake towards the B-side take, because this fast B won't work. Ghost actually fling everything they have early on.
Yeah. Well,
it's like an artillery strike.
It is. And
you can't walk through that and expect to get out unscathed. They're already down towards 40 or 50 HP, the rifle. I mean, then Dallas backs it up with some good rifle control, and then they've got no chance.
Yeah, Immortals just getting a little bit too chillaxed, a little bit too loose. No respecty.
You've got to respect Ghost a little bit. They still have very, very solid aimers on this side, as well as at least decent countermeasures. There's a flashbang to allow them to drop, and Seb, oh, he spots out the bomb. He spots 2 going in towards the column side, but Rix is going to get punished. And now Connor, so much work for him to do. They know that he's towards stables. And Seb still doing work, though, with that MP9. Able to take down Zach, coming a little bit late. Connor, 93, finds one. Can he find the second that's flanking him? That's going to be Steel, who's still trying to make his move. But Connor turns around just at the right time, and Connor will spot him, but no matter, because at close range, Steel will shut him out with the CZ bullet. Now it's down towards a 1 and 2. Dallas on the long rotation around, alongside with his buddy Wardell. They're trying to come in from the long A position, but once again, Steel will be able to hear this. Now he's got the AK in hand. Destiny should know what's going on. 2 people rotating across. Steel will find one. Traded out by Wardell. Destiny 1-on-1 against Wardell. All he needs to do is jump up and take this duel. AK now in the hands. Destiny's head will be spotted up, but he can't transition the aim in time on the side of Wardell, and Destiny will get the kill, so Immortals do manage to clutch it out. And Ghost, they are reset on the side of Wardell and Seb, and they have to decide whether to force up or just eco in this round. And
they have to force, really.
Such a difficult decision to make, though. 7-13, if you force right now, it's not the best buy to go into it, and if you lose, it's effectively Immortals' map.
Yep. I would say that's a pretty good summary of what's going on here, as Immortals really shouldn't have won that round. I don't know why those rotations from B through the danger area were so late. Like, maybe they took plat control or something like that and then pretty much were forced to flank, but, you know, they had a pretty good idea from a fairly early stage that it was going to be A, but the rotations came in so late that they couldn't even win that, you know, 2v2 really, at that point. And also one of their, you know, in the 3v2, one of their teammates just really overextends there. Yeah, someone else who's overextending is Bolts, who it works out for him, so why not?
It's not overextension. It's called
it's not overextension when you get the kills.
Planned aggression, as now they just have to save the M4s. But look on who is on the lurk. It is going to be Zach. Doesn't matter, because Connor 93.
Copper 93.
Zach is playing 300 IQ. Connor's just playing W mouse 1. It really, that's what it looked like. Connor's just like, I am going to sprint with my gun out. Oh, there's a guy there. Headshot. Oh, okay, he's dead. Keep running. Got to feel a little bit bad for Zach. Zach was prepared.
Yeah, playing 10D underwater chess, and Connor goes, "What happens if I move this one?" And then he wins. Checkmate. Easy.
Like, Connor's still peeking it. It's like, he starts to, it's like, I wonder if I can get away with it. Sure, why not? Double peeks it. Oh, okay, maybe a little bit tagged. Let's back out now.
Oh, he shot me once. Ah! And then he runs away. So, takes 2 bullets in the knee. 1 in each knee. He's going to crawl his way up into the castle. Rest that one off. Horvey on the lurk. Let him recover, mate. Old mate Cobber. Sitting in his Cobber castle. Unfortunately gets taken out. And, yeah, that's... Man. This doesn't feel like a 14-7. It feels like Ghosts have been making a decent accounting for themselves, but just shows sort of the class.
It's been faulty accounting, I guess, because they only have 7.
I mean, sort of.
Okay, I agree with you as well. I think Ghost actually played a decent Cobblestone game.
It just shows the class of teams, to be honest,
Yes.
Kev. Like, really, honestly, it's just 2 different classes of teams. They're just not on Immortals level, despite, you know, Immortals being a little bit more sort of, you know, all over the place nowadays.
I felt like, to me, the critical turning round was about probably the 4-5 stage where Ghost, they were winning a few T rounds, they were starting to get ahead, but they didn't bring the same level of intensity. In my mind, they should have just kept going, should have shown that no respect, you know, should have just gone in, just gone like, you know what, we can take down all these Immortal players. It needs to be a little bit careful now because there's heavy damage being done by the side of Ghost. Not enough to just convert the round yet, but Steel's down towards 1 HP, trying to boost up. Wardell might be pushing in as Zach has been spotted out with the bomb as well.
They're not going to commit to the boost yet, as they will now. Heading back through A, but they will meet up with your boy Cobber.
But can he do the damage towards Zach? That's the real question. He just has to hold this line to make sure they don't rotate across. And now the E-box push comes out from Wardell. Steal, 1 HP, gets taken down. Will retrieve himself an AK-47. Destiny. Oh, Zach, he's been caught out. The bomb's been lost, and now it's up to Destiny on the 1-on-3. Clutch Connor won't be able to get the headshot.
Why is he taking that fight, though? There's just no need. Even Rix has a kit.
You don't question the Coleman 93.
You do when he's about to, when it's match point, almost match point.
Sometimes you just got to make the information on an aggressive play. If you're feeling good about yourself, you don't suspect the second guy to be there, but the push comes in towards the A site. Wardell is just listening in for information, but Destiny's going to go the long way around through Stable. Will be smoking off the doors, and Wardell, if he pushes forward, he's a dead man for certain because Destiny should be able to react in time. It will just allow him to plant, just wait for Rix. Rix does have a kit, so it means they have additional time to work with, but Wardell's going to make a solo play anyway. Really, really silly stuff, and it means that a great round from Ghost might mean a better round for Immortals because they still managed to take the win.
If you're going to push, just push when he's crossing or push when he's planting the bomb. Don't wait for the worst possible time when he's definitely, you know, at least in a decent position.
Oh, Destiny, so sharp.
Oh, man, the 1v3 so horrendously misplayed from Ghost, and yeah, there's not much else to say, really. They're down and out in this game, and you just can't make mistakes against a player, you know, of Destiny's caliber. He's almost dirty bombing.
Didn't feel like it, but he's been absolutely ballistic on the T side, just doing huge work, and once again, stepping up. Destiny's been having an absolute cracker at a time in Immortals, and showing that he definitely deserves this chance to be on one of the most prestigious NA orgs in terms of CS.
Do you reckon they played against him in Tempo Storm, and they were like, oh, he's good, but he's not that good. Like, we've made these mistakes against him before, and then he steps up his level coming into a team like Immortals, and you just realize that sometimes that's all people really need, to be honest. They need that added motivation of joining, you know, a top-tier side and to really bring themselves to that next level of their game.
I think it's 2 things, but I'll elaborate on after the retake has been completed, whether or not Ghost can succeed. Still is caught off by Connor. And Seb actually are now making it very, very competitive. They're lining up, but can they get the kills? Destiny finds one more. It's got bolts to assist with him. Molotov does not really make its way towards default. Oh, the flashbang is good, but it's not good enough because it still means Destiny dies. Now it's all down towards bolts. He finds 2, but he can't find another. They will be able to get the defuse, so at least keeping themselves alive in contention for another fight, another round. As I was saying, I think it's 2 things. One, it's like motivation, that all of a sudden you've been noticed. You want to make the most of this opportunity. Destiny has been making the most. He's been playing huge in these last couple of games. But I think the second thing as well is that if you're a decent player already, right, so because Destiny can't really just come in and just drop, you know, consistent 20 and 30 kills or like really high ratings against even good opponents like Optic if he wasn't a decent player. You don't do that. He probably was already a very good player, but now he's reinforced by a great structure.
Yeah.
Teammates he can rely on more because, sure, you could rely on your teammates previously, but it's like, kind of going back to the saying, you can rely on really good teammates, or you can rely on great teammates who've got you've got every single sector covered.
So to summarize what you've said, Kev, you're not really that bad of a player. If you're on Immortals, you'd be sick as well.
No. He was already a very good player, but he's brought into a very good lineup where you have a structure, you have players of like-minded who are probably better than compared to the previous one. It is obviously going to be upgraded, and Destiny has allowed a lot of space right now to kind of play towards his role and excel. And that's why he's succeeding in my mind. Lyrics, though, will be able to hold off. Can't get the trade with Steel. But still, it just means... Steel. Means that it's very difficult for Immortals to try to make their way towards a B site. I had a little bit of a giggle there.
Little bit of a giggle on Cobblestone.
You're having a laugh, mate, as now it's going to be Cobber93 sitting at the default position. I don't know what just happened. Just ignore that. But Connor's going to be caught out, and this is just a huge turnaround just from a single play from Steel. Locks down the rotation on through Connector, and Steel should be able to hear them coming up through Drop and Wardell. He's aware of the danger in Drop. Oh, the timing, Steel.
That last second, like 360 flick from Wardell going, oh.
That's
it's all over.
It was so promising. It was a good start, but then Steel decides to step up. And he steals the game. I mean, they still had so much to work with, and I don't know how much more I can actually chuck his name into it. Unintentional puns, guys. But that is a very, very, very quick game aside of Immortals. We were talking about it earlier on. Ghost, they actually showed up. They had promise. You know, we were like, oh, maybe they're back. Maybe they got something. And then towards the mid-game, faltered, didn't really show up. You know, it was kind of like a really appealing meal at first, and you bite into it. I always go back to the food analogies. You bite into it and you just go, this was average at best, and that was Ghost. They were average at best. It's not good enough for a team like Immortals who have a lot to fight for, who have a lot to show up against, and that's what we saw today from Immortals.
Yeah, it looks like, you know, sort of stepping forward into the rest of this Pro League. They're just looking, they're beyond just looking to improve, sorry, you know. When you're at that point, you know, as a team of Immortals calibers, after such a good performance at the Major, you're already getting invites to mad tournaments here, there, and everywhere. You know, you got plenty of opportunities set out in front of you, but it doesn't look like they're taking this Pro League for granted, despite it going off to a really bad start, which is a good sign. Looks like they're taking things seriously, and they want to try to make a recovery and try to push towards that finals position.
And they do have the recipe to do so as well. I mean, considering that Immortals and Steel playing very well. Now Destiny is also chiming in from the rounds that we saw from Orby as well. Definitely no slouch with the rifle.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't really say any of those Immortals players are really slouches per se, apart from posture-wise, which is just the classic gamer. Posture, I guess. I couldn't really think of any other words. Anyway, Kev, let's break this awkwardness, because you got a really good point to make.
Which is? More Steel puns, or in terms of just Ghost? Where
more
they
memes,
just
or...
More memes, or on a serious... I just think Ghost, if they kept up the intensity, they just let it completely drop. I feel like they needed to have a little bit more variety in towards what they were doing. It was always, oh, you know, our 2 late executes worked out really well. Let's go for a late execute, but they couldn't really get the trades working this time. Immortals pushed and had the perfect read every single time, and as soon as you walk in, smoke's faded. You can't challenge 3 rifles on a dry plane just like that. They'll just have fun with M4s. They'll just be like, oh, this just feels like FFA DM all over again, but this time there's no one sitting inside a corner using sound. It's just literally someone strafing into your crosshairs, and all you have to do is just move the mouse and is playing Duck Hunt effectively. That's what they did in most of the rounds. There was no fast takes coming out in the gun rounds. There was nothing to catch them by surprise. Even when they did take this fast control, they just dilly-dallied around, didn't do anything on the back of it, and it just fell back, and it was just like, that was just a load of nothing.
Yeah.
It was like no substance in between.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a switch was flicked at some point, where at the start of the game they're coming into it like, yeah, let's try to win this. Let's play to win. Let's put ourselves in really good positions. We've got these executes we've planned out. Let's use them. They do it well. They get a couple of rounds on the board after losing the pistol, but at some point that switch sort of, it's a bit of a faulty one, and actually just flicks into the sort of mid tier of motivation and effort, and that's where you sort of start making a couple extra silly mistakes, not using the extra flashbang in the mid-round, sort of letting things get a bit sloppy, and when Immortals get into that sort of position, they're usually able to close it out. So, I mean, going to have to see Ghost step it up another level and keep that same level of motivation and intensity, you know, throughout the game if they're even going to have a chance of taking another map.
Absolutely. But